What's going on, everyone? Jacob here, back with the first video of this new season, 26-27. Took a little bit of a summer hiatus, I guess you could say, after what was an emotional World Cup for England. Very much invested in that. Of course, we made it all the way to the semi-finals against a fabled Argentina side, and it did not end the way we wanted to, for one reason and the other. But you know, it is what it was. It was a tournament where, again, like under Southgate, we England fans believed that we had the right man in charge. He picked the right players, or so he should have, and we fell a bit short. So now we move on, obviously, to Man United. Summer has gone already. We're back into the Premier League. First weekend just happened. I'm recording this on the Monday evening. I've just obviously seen Chelsea beat Fulham away 3-2. And yeah, I think a reaction video for each game is what I'm planning to do. But for this one in general, I think after watching that game on Saturday, I had to maybe, not do a video that day. Maybe I had to kind of think on a few things, watch the highlights again, that kind of thing. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you a Red Devil review, and we're going to talk about kind of how the game played out. Obviously, the starting 11, things that happened throughout the two goals from Hull at the back end of this first half. And what do we see transpiring from here? Is it a tale of Michael Carrick yet again, in terms of another manager yet again not being backed in the transfer window probably as quickly? Not even just the players that are slowly coming here, but not as quickly. You see everyone else. Arsenal, they went out and did their business relatively early, obviously a lot earlier than we did. Chelsea, they're always spending, but they nonetheless got their guy Alonso in, then gave him Rodgers, then gave him so many other players, still to come as well, it seems. And we look at Man United, where we've got into the Champions League. That kind of good vibe, good feeling around the place is somewhat back. We've been feeling pretty good. Obviously, after the back end of last season, Michael Carrick's tenure so far has been, all song and dance so far. Anyway, jumping into what happened on Saturday. So we start off with a lineup of Lemons in net, Mazraoui, Maguire, Heaven, Shaw. The midfield debut combination of Andre Santos and Youri Tielemans. And Bomo off the right, Dorgu off the left, Bruno in the 10, and Cunha up front. Overall, I guess it is probably the strongest 11, maybe Dallo aside from Mazraoui. It's the strongest 11 that we could have fielded. Obviously, Rashford was never going to get a start with him just coming back. I think the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So we did see him, obviously, but not fit enough, I'd say, to start. And what did we see? So relatively speaking, Man United started off the game pretty well, and then slowly but surely Hull gained momentum. Obviously, the crowd, first game back in the Premier League at home, crowd got behind them, and I think it's very common for United teams of late, whether that was Ten Hag or even Amorim or a few other managers before them. Away games were pretty brutal. This crowd would get on top of them. They'd feel all just kind of succumb with pressure. Even at a stadium such as Hull's. No disrespect, but United players and plenty of players that have played that are in this team, they've played in much harsher environments. Away in Europe, that kind of thing. But anyway, Youri Tielemans, in terms of a debut, it was going forward pretty good, I would say. Andre Santos, I would maybe say the same for him, probably not as well. But my first talking point is this midfield. So we've lost Casemiro, who was a pure centre defensive midfielder. And then alongside him was playing Kobbie Mainoo. Then you have Bruno in the 10. We've now got, obviously Mainoo on the bench. Remains to be seen if he's going to be starting or if has he got work to do to get in the side over Santos and Tielemans. But now we've got a midfield duo who both are new signings this summer, are neither centre defensive midfielders. Tielemans, you could argue maybe he can do like an anchor position to some regard, like kind of almost like what Michael Carrick did back in the day, but he's not got the attributes to do the defensive work, especially in a Premier League now that is so vastly different from when Michael Carrick played. It's so high tempo, so quick pace. A lot of these players nowadays are athletes before they're even technical with the ball, so you're always going to be in for a physical encounter any given day in the Premier League. And Tielemans' just defensive work, he just got out-muscled, out-thought. And what became apparent, and this goes for the whole game, is that United quite evidently didn't do any fitness work. And like Tielemans had suggested in his interview with Rio Ferdinand, they didn't do any such running or, as much running as you'd expect for a Premier League team in pre-season. And you could see that on the pitch. We just weren't running. Hull were outrunning us any which way. Ollie McBurney making long busting runs. He was coming back, picking the ball off, the 6, just driving. And we're looking at each other, as a team, and just no one has a clue. No one has a clue how to run. And at the end of the day, as bad as you can be with the ball in a game, just put the work in, put the miles in, put the miles on the clock, work for your team. You don't have to even touch the ball. Just go for it. Close down, run as hard as you can against them, and it's just it's those things where it then kind of flips, and you're thinking to yourself, as a Premier League player, obviously I never was at those levels, but as a Premier League player, if I was gifted a spot, the first thing I'd do is I'd make sure I'd run my bloody socks off. That's part and parcel, and that's what you get taught, growing up. I'd say. Growing up in England, but when you get to these academies, you're obviously taught to pass more than you're running, and then does that take a detrimental effect to actually the hard work that's done, or should be done, should I say? Hull did what they were, most of us would probably expect them to do, play a lot of long balls. They thrived off the second ball off of McBurney up front. And that we were susceptible to those. We had Maguire and Eden Heaven as a centre-back partnership who really didn't seem too comfortable, and I don't think it's a pairing that's been experimented upon too often in previous years and previous games, and they just did look shaky together. Lamans did well before the first goal in terms of opportunities for Hull, saved our bacon in a few of those, and then comes the corner kick. I hate those. I hate conceding a goal like that. That's kind of black and white right there. Like when you have an open space and there's a second ball from a corner and there's an open space and you just see two of your defenders manhandling each other, not even manhandling the opposition, manhandling each other. And even in the clip, you play it back, and in the clip, Maguire's holding him back. He's holding Mazraoui back for some reason, even though the ball's right in front of them and there's a Hull player right there about to pounce on it. It's just honestly mind-boggling. I love Harry Maguire. I love the way he's responded over the last couple of seasons, especially to the negative criticism he got beforehand. He came back, played well, wears a captain's armband when Bruno's not on the pitch nowadays, and he's a real, obviously, voice in the dressing room, part of the leadership group. But it's those moments I'm like, why? Like, honestly, at the end of the day, he's a good defender. I love him to bits, but I don't know what he was doing. Really don't. Really don't have a clue what he was doing there. But it's like an episode of the Shuckle Brothers in that 6-yard box. Anyway, no reaction to the second ball. Hull score 1-0. Crowd goes wild on top of them, and then again another long ball. Set piece, no defending, no reaction. it was just a calamitous performance defensively in the first half. Though I might add, going forward, we were nothing to be sniffed at either. We had a few good chances with Mbumo, with Cunha in the first half, but the link-up play, I mean, and now going back to what I was saying at the start, consuming the rest of the games, the Liverpool-Newcastle game, the Chelsea-Fulham game today, I wanted to watch those games to almost compare and contrast what United weren't doing that these other teams that have got new managers, let's say that, newer managers than Carrick, what they were able to do. Obviously, Newcastle and Liverpool, great game. Probably the best game of the weekend in terms of quality from both sides. And Fulham and Chelsea, another great game. Chelsea looked very dangerous on the attack. Susceptible at the back, so that can be hopefully pays us dividends down the line. Obviously, they'll be probably one of our top 5 rivals. But yeah, Man United nowhere near that compared to those teams. Iraola's Liverpool, Alonso's Chelsea, Yasla's Newcastle. Even if you want to throw them in the mix, all showed better attacking quality going forward, and then we peel it back and we're like, okay, well, Bruno Fernandes, we've apparently rejected an offer from, is it Galatasaray or Fenerbahce for you? You could make millions more than you do right now. You're supposed to be our best player. And he's put an absolute stinker of a performance in. Really, really bad. Like, he never really got control of the game. Normally, he's the one orchestrating them. I don't want to be too harsh on him purely for that fact that he's always the man. So I won't ramble on, but it wasn't a great performance by Bruno Fernandes at all. And I hope it's not cause for concern going through, the first part of the season. Obviously, half-time, Dorgu off, Rashford in. Dorgu had a pretty, excuse my French, but piss poor first half. Defensively, nowhere near it. Attacking wise, he was peeping up in the right hand side, making Cunha having to shift over and Mbumo to shift over. I understand positioning, I understand movement throughout a game, but there's no way that Dorgu's been told to go to the right hand side. So I don't know why he's there in the first place. He wasn't taking a throw in, he wasn't taking a free kick. Just very, very strange. It was. We also, with Tielemans, I think we saw a few examples of his range of passing, but there was too many chipped ones. There was too many ones where I think it was was it Ahmad that came on in the second half, and he floated a few over to Ahmad. Ahmad is 5'6", 5'7" against big John Egan or whoever it was, and I'm not. There's the spaces in the channels to play a drilled one. Like, why has this kind of finesse or this skill of being able to drill a pass kind of disappeared in this new era of football? That David Silva pass against Manchester United in the 6-1, that was just on the ice, just skipping on the grass straight through, I think, to Aguero, whoever it was at the time. I mean, that kind of pass, that's what I've been expecting. That's what I do expect when there's channels and those gaps in the channels. Play that ball. You've got a speed merchant on the right. Play the ball on the ground. He's never going to win an aerial duel. Just zip it in. Couldn't string a pass together. 67th minute rolls around. Mainu, Sesko come on for both the Tielemans and Santos. I'm going to call them the Chuckle Brothers until further notice. Mainu, Sesko. I mean, Sesko had a couple half chances almost. We'll give him time because and we'll cut him some slack because he's obviously coming off of that shin injury that he still hasn't fully recovered from. Although coming on for 23-25 minutes was a good sign. But we did miss him as well. We really missed Sesko. We missed his height up front. Like I said, given that we were playing these high balls and these crosses, and we have one of the smallest front three, I think, in the Premier League. Just wasn't there. Really wasn't there. Hey ho. It reminded me of those games with David Moyes and Ten Hag. just lackluster. And we probably had better players back then as well, especially the Moyes era. Lackluster, like no tempo, no commitment to actually playing in the game. It was just more of a hit and hope and lazy defending, lazy movement, attacking wise, and it was awful. And then this brings me to Michael Carrick's post-match interview. As much as we love Michael Carrick, he's a very obviously calm individual. You never see him really getting emotional on the touchline. If you do see him getting emotional, it's more so for a referee's decision rather than something his players have done, or even conceding a goal, which is maybe a little bit of a cause for concern. But he's way too nonchalant, way too nonchalant. I mean, thinking back to his mentor, let's say, sorry, it's Ferguson. Thinking back to if a Ferguson team came to Hull on the opening day of the season, and I'm not. This is me. First of all, I'm going to say I'm not by this video and things I've said in this video hitting the red alarm button. I'm not signaling like let's hit the reset button. It's the first game of the season, but nonetheless, it's a performance to analyse. But yeah, Ferguson in a post-match interview in that game, I'm sure he might not go for the whole team, but he might pick out a few individuals, or he may gesticulate about certain decisions or certain moments where players could have done better. Absolutely, but Michael Carrick, he's here just standing tall. Fair enough, but tell us honestly what you felt about the game, because we were watching the same game you did, and there's no way in hell that was anywhere close to what you wanted or what you planned for or what you had sketched out in your meetings, and that really irks me. That it really does. I get he's nonchalant, I get he's relaxed, but please just show me some passion, show me some kind of just feedback from what you saw versus what I saw. And looking at our front line, lineup, I should say, and I'm going to give a 1 to 10 rating for the starting 11 first in a minute. But just to pinpoint and look upon Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, again, first 15 minutes, first 25 minutes. Looked all right going forward, linked some passes up, got a few crosses in, again to no avail for the most part. But he just looked laboured in a sense and lost. And you could see it from the way Hull went down our throats. They were going up to McBurney. Most times it was coming off towards the flank where Shaw was, and they were running in behind him, getting balls through. And I don't know. I'm really hoping, with obviously Baleba coming, who is, again, a true centre defensive midfielder, hopefully he can be, helping that back line in terms of positioning, especially when we get encountered upon. But I'm really, really hoping for a left back. Really hoping. There's no way we can go throughout the whole season with Luke Shaw. I think Harry Amas seems like he's going on loan, although I'm not too sure where he is at the moment. Diego Leon probably will not see any first team football this season. There's no way in hell we can go with just one left back throughout the whole, Premier League, Champions League, other ones, the rest of the cups. And I know Dallo can play on the left, but please, come on, that gimmick has been dead. Like Dallo at left back, Dallo at right back, Dallo way back. We can't. I mean, and then you look at the back four. It's like really, apart from Mazraoui, who's really should be Dallo, that back four hasn't changed aside from Aidan Heaven, being 19 years of age, since the Ten Hag era. So major improvements needed. I mean, my wish list has grown since that first game. But being realistic, I know we can't get another centre back. I know we probably won't be in the market for a left winger, or even a number 9. So yeah, it seems like Baleba's coming in, and then it's a midfield battle of those four: Santos, Tielemans, and Mainu as to who plays. need a much better showing from Bruno. And then obviously the left back position, I think Shaw obviously needs some support and needs even an upgrade on him. He might even, by the end of the season, might be second choice left back if we get a left back in. Anyway, my 1 to 11 out of 10. Senny Lamans, I gave him a 6. I felt like there wasn't too much he could have done apart from that spilt shot. But yeah, I felt he did all right, but he wasn't helped out by the men in front of him. Mazraoui, 4, non-existent. Poor showing. Harry Maguire, this is very low for him. I don't like to give him this, but yeah, 2. Again, just didn't really think he did too much, even on the offensive side of the ball. Aidan Heaven, I think he wasn't helped out by the man bit to his right. 4. Luke Shaw, 3. Santos, 3. Tielemans, 4. Just for that over-the-top pass he played in the first half. Mbumo, 7. He was my best rated player for United. He looked threatening in parts. Got some shots away, playing up front. Dorgu, 2. Says it all really. Probably should have given him 1. Bruno, 5. What can I say about him? Just not at the quality that we expect, and especially given that it's maybe his last season in a United shirt. We'll see. Despite this new contract, we'll find out whether that's actually going to go ahead or not. But you think that in his final season for United, he's going to put in a much better performance than that in the first half, in the first game of the season. Mateus Cunha, 5. Yeah, just kind of dross. It was a poor game. Michael Carrick and the guys have a lot of work to do. I think next game, obviously Ipswich at home. Do we start with Rashford on the left? Just absolutely throw everything we have at it. It's not throw everything at it like we have to, make sure we win the game in the first 30 minutes or anything. But just play the United way: free-flowing, counter-attacking football, pace, passing, precision passing on the floor. Drill passes. And just from a defensive point of view, it needs to be better. It needs to be more structured. It needs to flow a lot better. I felt like just the connection between the defensive line and the midfield too, and even Bruno in that wasn't there either. But 2 new midfield signings starting away from home against a newly promoted team sounds like a good idea. Anyway, guys and girls, I appreciate you listening to me rambling on for the past 23 minutes. I will be back periodically. I'm going to try some FPL content with my friend Nick, and I am going to basically continue these Red Devil reviews for each game. I think the prediction videos, whilst I do like to do them, they are pretty long to do in terms of editing for just me, myself and I, so I'm probably going to withhold on those. But if you're new around here, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and then comment below what your thoughts and feelings at the whole game. Are you a United fan? Are you a fan of another team? And what team was that? And how do you feel about your team after that first game week? Anyway, I've been Jacob. This has been Robsy Football. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.